Casey, after your child equalizes or when they break a boundary in the moment, do you go back to them in a moment of regulation and explain to them why they can't do that behavior? This is probably the question I get the most on social media. And the reason I haven't answered it on social media yet until today is not because I don't want to share the answer, but because it has been so contingent on where my son's nervous system accumulation was, where our trust was, and how close he was to burnout. Okay, so the crux of the question is, do you ever correct a PDAer's behavior? And the answer is, yeah, sometimes. But we have to take into consideration that anytime we are correcting or teaching, there will be some activation, right? And so the cost of that activation is much higher when the child is in burnout and you're rebuilding trust. So I actually didn't revisit a lot of the moments that even when I did set a boundary with a sibling where I removed him because he was doing something that was harmful to his younger brother, we didn't necessarily talk about it for the first couple of years when we were reestablishing trust, because he was most of the time in his survival brain, which is the part of his brain where he cannot learn. And when I would bring it up, it would put him further into survival and diminish trust between us. Now that we've been doing this for 5 years, of course I talk to him about it afterwards, and it might be an hour later. But how long that afterwards is, I think I've been hesitant to talk about it because parents want to revert to the more traditional approach, which is like, I need to correct the behavior right afterwards, and then they're going to put the child right back into their survival brain and rupture that tenuous trust that they're building and make it harder for their child to get out of burnout. Right? Only you know where your child is and where your relationship is and how close they are to their threshold. So it's never a binary of like, it's wrong to correct their behavior or you should never correct their behavior. But we have to do it mindfully with the cost benefit of their nervous system in mind. Right? So this is something I teach in depth in the Paradigm Shift program, and we go into all the nuances and we implement things consistently and we troubleshoot and refine and I mentor you. But for social media, it's really hard for me to be like, well, let's get into your specific case here in the comments, right? So anyways, I hope that's helpful to you and is providing somewhat of a framework to think through whether or not it's the right time for your child for you to be correcting the behavior after the incident.